search for the hidden treasures located across the Midwest, we may have found one of Michigan's best-kept secrets, and it's called the Rifle River Recreation Area. It's in a wilderness located within the AuSable State Forest on the outskirts of West Branch, Michigan, and has a variety of recreational opportunities. We made West Branch our home for the next 3 days. It was the perfect place to stay. About 2.5 hours from Detroit, it offered us name-brand accommodations with great restaurants and a Tanger outlet mall that the whole family enjoyed. The mall was one of the reasons that the ladies decided to come along on this adventure. So while Denny and I journeyed into this small wilderness, Marianne and Debbie traveled to a little more civilized adventure. A little outlet mall shopping was awaiting them. It was a great time for them, and I was even able to pick up a few deals for myself. West Branch is located right off of I-75 in Ogama County at exits 212 and 215. A unique turn-of-the-century experience awaits you in their beautiful Victorian downtown. The hills of Ogama County are known for their breathtaking beauty when it comes to fall colors. So even our trip from town to the recreation area was a fantastic autumn color tour. Trees ablaze in gold, reds, and orange give way to the splendor of the hills. The landscape was a real surprise, and I can understand why people would make this trip for the opportunity just to travel through the Ogama Hills. Some of Michigan's most beautiful colors can be found in Ogama County. A visitor will not be disappointed during their fall tour of this region. This is the best close-to-home color tour that we've come across. I give it 2 thumbs up. We were fortunate to be introduced to Kevin Wisman, a lifelong resident and park enthusiast who would be our guide. Our first stop would be at the highest point in the park and a climb to the top of the observation tower for a bird's eye view, where Kevin would give us an overview of the park and our trip. Kevin, we appreciate you coming out with us. We're at an overlook here. Could you explain where we're at and what we're going to see from here?
Well, we're actually towards the front of the park. This road leads around to the back of the park. And what we're looking at right now is really 4 of the main lakes that they have back in the park. The one over here, Grouse Haven Lake. This is Lodge Lake right here. Behind us, Grebe Lake. And off in the distance, near the Eagle's Nest over there, is DeVoe Lake. What we're going to do is, I figured we'd start out here and just kind of get an overview of the park itself, which is the front part. This is where the campground is. This is where the main lakes are. As you get towards the rear of the park, you can see some little things that make this park unique from a lot of the parks that I've been to. The river, for example, the Rifle River starts in this particular park. And we'll take a trip down there. We'll look at the swinging bridge. It's a spot I like to take my family to.
Okay.
It's right along the river. I'll show you some of the campgrounds, some of the different options, some of the different variety in the campgrounds they have back there. This part right here just kind of gives you an idea from a view,
Okay.
what we're going to be looking at.
Before we left the observation tower, I had the opportunity to talk to a couple who had been coming here since the late 50s, and they were a wealth of information when it came to the evolution of this park. Now, you said you have been coming here since, what, 59?
59, yeah.
Wow, that's a long time.
Well, the cabin was still here.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, yeah. Just the remnants of it.
Okay.
Well, no, it was still a cabin, but they weren't using it at the time.
Now, in 59, what was this? Was it just taken over by the state at that time then, or around that area?
Well, it got better all the time where they had, it was already taken over by the state, so we could come in here.
Okay.
But then the roads got improved. The new entrance came about 10 years later or so.
Well, it's amazing, though, because you've been coming here that long. Then there must be a draw to it that just keeps you coming back.
If you look through those glasses, right over at that shore, you can't see anything more beautiful if you went to New Hampshire. I mean, so we come here in the fall to see the color, and we take these trails.
Well, this is a nice shot from here, but you're talking about all this, and I'm anxious to get around and see some of this. So what do you say we get going and do that?
Let's do it.
All right. This area was formerly a private and hunting fishing retreat owned by the late H.M. Jewett, a pioneer auto manufacturer. In 1945, the tract was purchased by the Department of Conservation from Mr. Jewett. The Department of Conservation renamed it the Rifle River area and used it as a field laboratory for fish and game research. Then in 1963, the Parks Division acquired the area, and it is now known as the Rifle River Recreation Area. Well, it was another beautiful fall day with the temperatures in the 70s, blue skies, and the trees showing their full array of colors. The headwaters of the Rifle River are found within the recreation area, and in these largely undeveloped conditions of the park, the river holds designation as a natural river and is protected under the Natural Rivers Act. If you love the outdoors and all the things that can be done in it, you will love this area.
Well, Kevin, you said we were going to see some nice places out here, some nice overlooks, and I guess we're at one right now. What lake is this that's out here?
This is Grouse Haven Lake. It's probably about I'm thinking 150-acre lake. It runs about 50 feet deep. You can see the sandbars out there. They're just beautiful.
It evidently is a clear lake, though, too, huh?
Yeah, it's very clear. You take a boat out, you can literally look down and see 20 feet down to the bottom.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Now, fish in the lake?
Yes, there's this lake is predominantly stocked with brown trout, but there's rainbows also. Just very hard to catch.
Okay, this looks like a good lake. Hey, now, what about a launch or something to get on it if somebody wanted to get on it?
Yeah, well, realistically, you can launch a boat anywhere in a lake like this. It's pretty much shallow right up to shore. They have actually 2 beaches on this lake, and I guess you can consider those boat launches too. As far as this lake goes, there's 1 boat launch that's between the 2 beaches over on the other side of the lake, but that's really about it for boat launches.
Okay, looks like a good spot though to come down to. There's some pathways, I take it, down along the...
Yeah, there sure is. You can pretty much walk almost all the way around it.
Okay, great spot to come out here, but we got a bunch more too, so we're going to go head on and take a trip around.
10 of the lakes in the park are open to fishing, and some have park-specific rules. There are no motors allowed on any of the lakes.
Well, as we made our way around on these roads, we continue to seem to weave in and out of the woods and oftentimes coming past these lakes here. Now we're at, you said Jewett Lake?
This is Jewett Lake, yes.
And now this particular lake, just a small lake, but it does have some special fishing regulations on it?
Yeah, this is a lake that requires a permit to fish that you can get at the front contact station as you come into the park. And it's a catch and release only, and artificial lure only. I believe that it's only open until the end of September 30th. And I've never had a lot of luck catching fish here, but I did hear they've planted some walleye in this lake at some point. Whether or not they've continued to plant them over the years, I don't know. I think they started this in the 70s sometime. So I'd imagine it would be quite interesting to spend some more time fishing in, but I haven't myself.
Okay, I bet it would be. And that's one thing, though, it'd be a good idea to stop at the front office coming in and get some maps and ask some questions when you get there, especially if you're coming out here to do a little bit of fishing, because there are certain regulations out here that may differ. One of the things, we've got a lot of trout out here, and trout season now is closed, at the end of September, I believe it is. And a lot of these lakes have trout in them, so you're going to have to keep that in mind if you do come out here later in the fall, that they have those regulations on them.
For a complete list of what type of fish each lake contains, we have a link from our site that gives you that information along with access site information and the depth of each lake. The park contains over 14 miles of pathways meandering throughout, offering hiking, biking, cross-country skiing, and snowshoeing. We would discover this park's hiking opportunities. You know me, if there's a trail around, I'm all for following it. I sure wasn't disappointed. We started our hike at the south end of the park, just below the headwaters to the Rifle River. The trail was easy and on level ground. We soon came to a footbridge that seemed to be a unique attraction for most of the families that were also out enjoying this trail.
Well, Kevin, you were mentioning this particular bridge. What did you say the name of it again?
The Swinging Bridge.
Okay, and it's just part of actually a pathway that runs along this part of the park?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, there's a trail coming back that we drove back in on.
Right.
There's a hiking trail right across the road that comes out right there. It actually continues right through here.
Okay.
And that hiking trail will then parallel the river all the way up to Ranch Campground, and then further on yet. And we'll get a chance to walk down that very trail as we head back up that direction. But judging from the drive back, you can tell that it's quite a long walk.
Yes, absolutely. I was thinking that's a long way to be on the trail. We were talking too that DeVoe Lake is the headwaters for the Rifle River.
Yep, it sure is.
Okay, and it's really kind of amazing because I'm seeing a lot of appears to be a pretty good current that's flowing here. We're not that far from the lake. It's amazing how much water actually flows down through here. And you were also mentioning that you actually get salmon up from the Great Lakes that come up this far into the river.
Yeah, steelhead salmon. Salmon typically a little bit later. The steelhead's more of a spring run, while the salmon, of course, is more of a fall run. And I actually was down here not too long ago and already saw some of them floating back down towards Lake Huron. So I think that we're getting down towards the end of the salmon run. But yeah, they sure do make it up here, and they actually really spawn in some of the feeder streams, the Houghton Creek, Wilkins Creek, as they flow into the Rifle.
No
further
kidding.
upstream. Yeah.
Wow. So when you're coming up here, you'll be able to possibly, especially in the fall time of the year, you might see some salmon coming up there.
Oh, absolutely.
We moved on to continue our hike and explore this fascinating area.
Break out of the woods a little bit here. And
Yeah.
got some open fields, huh?
Yeah, we're at point 23, point 22, pretty much tells you the direction to go. And you can really look on the map and it gives you a good idea of how far we are away from
Okay.
that. We're here right now. You can see how the river goes along the trail somewhat.
Yes.
And there's point 22. I mentioned before the bridge. This trail does lead all the way along the river.
Oh, that's a nice
down
hike.
to the bridge. Yeah, that's a nice hike. That's a nice hike.
And then what? Oh, loops all over the
yeah,
place.
you can,
These are
you
nice
can really go on
maps.
either side. Yep. Yep.
And the nice thing too, we've got the numbers, so anytime you come up to these maps, you just locate your number on there,
That's right.
and you get a direction
Yeah.
of where you can
Yeah.
go.
There's not too many surprises.
Okay, great.
Okay, we'll head that way.
All right.
The Rifle River Recreation Area is a multi-use area that provides a quiet getaway for hikers looking for a trail system with a mix of terrain, scenery, and solitude. The 4,300-acre recreation area blends nearly all the habitats and environments found in northern Michigan. Its overall beauty and solitude draws more than 100,000 visitors annually. The mix of habitat is of particular note for birders and photographers. In the northern section of the area, hikers will encounter upland hardwood ridges and the steepest climbs in the system. The southern loop is a trek through a blend of dry upland, lake, and river habitats. The area is a haven for hunters in pursuit of both large and small game. Here are the special attractions to this area for me: beauty, solitude, wildlife, birding, lake fishing. It really does have it all. We soon came across a hunter preparing to head out into the woods with his dogs. It was a perfect picture for a perfect day. Our hike continued running right next to the Rifle River as it snaked in and out around fallen trees. I imagine that it was just an excellent fishing hole as Kevin took us to his favorite spot. Kevin must have known my reputation when it comes to fishing because he wasn't too concerned that I knew where his spot was, but didn't want anyone else to know.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite fishing holes right here, but we'll keep that a secret.
Okay. Hey, now, when you are fishing it, you're in waders? Are you actually down in here waiting?
Yeah,
or do you
yeah.
fish it from the
I'm
bank?
actually in the water. Usually working your way from right to left. You don't want to get to the point to where you're right there because then your hat will be floating down the river.
Now, how do you figure out where your deep holes are at?
You learn from experience.
Okay. Your hat's floated a few times, that's what you're telling me.
The park offers 4 rustic and 1 modern campground. Kevin fills us in on the camping options available at the park.
Tom, I wanted to bring you and Denny back here to this particular campground first. This is really furthest away from really all the commotion, from all the people. People tend to come back here to Spruce Campground when they're not really too concerned about the beach, or not really too concerned about anything else, just relaxing.
Yeah, and this is a good spot too. Now, it would appear we've got a fire ring here. What about in a picnic table and a nice clearing for a tent?
Yeah.
But how about water?
There's a water pump usually at the center area of each one of the campgrounds back here. Each one of these campgrounds has loops. This particular campground's 1 loop. In the center of that loop, there's of course the restrooms, the water pump. Bring your cooler and bring your elbow grease,
Yeah,
because that's what it takes.
That's where you get your water.
There are actually 2 campsites back here right on the river.
Oh, is that
of
right?
course, those aren't the easiest ones to book. They're usually full pretty much year round.
Now, do people normally make a reservation when they come out here? Do you know?
Yeah, they've made quite a few changes in the actual reservation process, which has not necessarily been the most popular thing lately, but what you do is you can go online, you can get on the phone. Certain campsites back in this campground are on the reserved status.
Okay.
Meaning you call, you reserve a site, you're given one of these particular campsites. Certain other campsites are what they're called walk-in status. So You can't really reserve those. You can show up on a Thursday, and if they're open, then they're
get it.
yours. So
Okay. One more thing too about these campsites, and I don't know if they're all this way, but got a nice buffer zone in between each campsite.
Yeah. Typically, as you move further back in the park, there's usually a larger buffer zone between campsites. As we move closer and closer to the modern campground, you'll see things start to move closer and closer
it tightens
together.
up a little
yep,
bit.
yep.
So depending on what you like, if you like being around people, you pick the spots more to the front, but if you want to get away from everybody and be a little bit more secluded, this is a good spot to come back to.
Yep.
Let's take a look on around.
Okay.
As we continued, we took the time to talk to some of the folks camping. If you had any doubt that this was a marvelous place to stay, listen to what Peter Watson from Troy, Michigan had to say.
Okay.
The Rifle River here is such a wonderful river. I've decided that when I die, I want to be cremated and my ashes put into this river to give back to those wonderful trout that gave me so much food and pleasure. I like many places. I fly fish all over the state of Michigan, but I just have a certain pleasure for this river and this park, for the beauty that it has and mostly the respect that everybody has coming to this park.
If that's not enough to make you jump in the truck and head to the Rifle River Recreation Area, then how about someone who has been coming here for over 40 years? Dale Kent and his family call this place paradise and every fall home.
As we were traveling through the park out here, we stopped by one of the campgrounds, one of the many campgrounds that are out here. We've seen some folks that were sitting out here, and it looks like they're having a good time. You got a great day to be out here.
Oh, yeah.
You guys been coming out here a long time?
Almost over 40 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You've been doing it a long time.
Yeah,
well,
long time.
that must be about all your life then, huh?
That's all my life.
I was going to say, how did you find out about it?
My dad took us here.
Oh, is that right? So
Yeah.
he's been coming here longer yet then, huh?
Probably another 10 years after that.
Wow. So what keeps you coming back?
Oh, this is it. This is
sure,
it.
yeah, it sure is. You've got a beautiful day out
Yeah,
here.
we did a 4.5 mile hike this morning, and
Okay.
my little nephew's asleep in the tent. So, and Dad and his friend are out checking out a little raft to make sure it's safe for the little one out on DeVoe Lake. So
you're using, doing all kinds of different things
oh
out
yeah,
here then?
we hike, we fish, we used to hunt years ago when that's how we started out coming here. We used to hunt. So we haven't done that in a while. So this is the next best thing.
Now, is this something you do all year or just in the fall?
Always in the fall.
Always in the
Always
fall.
in the
Why the fall?
Because there's no bugs and ultimately the change of colors.
Yeah.
Wow, the beauty of the fall in the woods and the smell of hardwood on the fire. Nothing could be finer.
Oh, one thing nice about coming out here, especially when they got a fire going, it smells so good when you got this wood burning like this and you're sitting out here in the woods, and of course we got the leaves and some of them are falling, and that always adds a nice smell to it. It's just a great place to be in the fall.
Kevin had another surprise for us. He had heard how much we enjoyed canoeing and had arranged for a local canoe livery that was located right across from the park to deliver a canoe so that we could experience the lake firsthand.
Kevin, going around the park here, got a little bit twisted around with all the different roads we've been on, but you've got us over here to a lake. Now again, what lake is this one?
This is DeVoe Lake. This is my favorite lake back in the park. It's the largest lake back here. It's, in my opinion, has the best fishing. You're more likely to see deer walking along the shoreline. There's nobody back here. There's an eagle's nest on the far end down here that we'll get to see in a few minutes here. And some of the inlets and bays are just amazing. This time of year it makes it even better.
Well now, and we've got a canoe out here too. Explain to us where this canoe came from.
Well, Carl across the street, of course, rents canoes, rowboats, paddle boats, any type of boat that falls under the standard of no motors back in the park here. He'll take care of you. He drops them off, he picks them back up. The same thing goes for if you'd like to go down the river. They have specific drop-ins and pickups, and Carl's always done a real good job, always dependable, reliable.
So you don't have to come up here with your own boat
Absolutely
to
not.
do this. One more thing I want to hit on again here. There are no motors allowed on any of these lakes.
No,
That's
no
correct.
motors, and that includes electric motors. A lot of people think that includes just the gas motors, but electric motors aren't allowed either. So
Okay.
what you see is right here.
Okay, so plan on paddling or oaring your way around
That's right, that's right.
Okay, well let's head over and see if we can find that eagle's nest.
Yeah, that's good. We'll just head a little bit right here, towards the island over here.
Oh, okay, over here. Yep. Is this a lake we were looking at from the over?
Yeah, we were. We were way over on that hill line over there.
Oh, the big yellow line over there? Oh, no kidding. It didn't seem like we were that far away.
You not only have access to all the lakes by either boat or trail, you also have the opportunity to canoe the river and have you and your canoe picked up at a spot down the river. The local canoe liveries will be more than happy to help you with the planning of your trip. You can find a complete list of canoe liveries on our site at greatgetaways.tv. The DNR felt that the following statements captured the essence of the park's importance to our state's natural and cultural heritage, and I would have to agree. Rifle River Recreation Area contains 4,449 acres with 7 lakes, 3 ponds, and 7 miles of trout streams. Sustaining a viable fisheries and wildlife population and maintaining scenic beauty is important to both sportspersons and viewers.
You know, what I like about coming out onto these lakes like this, especially when you can come out in a canoe or a kayak, something that you don't have a motor running, and you get out here and you got the colors like this out in front of us here that are just gorgeous. It's just a great way to take a color tour. And on the lakes, for some reason, I guess because you've got such a good view, you always can take in the most color when you're out on them. So if you get an opportunity, come out onto the water itself, or at least to the edge where you can look across it. Take in a lot more color that way.
This recreation area contains an ecologically sensitive northern fen and an extensive high-quality floodplain forest. It provides suitable habitat to host a variety of rare species of plants and animal life. Rifle River Recreation Area provides year-round recreational opportunities within its scenic interior. Camping, picnicking, swimming, hiking, biking, canoeing, hunting, fishing, and sightseeing are the most popular activities enjoyed by visitors. Consult the Rifle River Fishing Guide for more information about which species can be found in the many lakes in the recreation area.
Well, Kevin, this was a great idea to set this up and come out here and take a good look at this lake. And of course, we've got a beautiful fall day to be out here. The temperatures must be up around 70 by now, and calm as can be.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. We saw the eagle's nest over there. I was hoping we'd get a shot to see him, but it wasn't meant to be today.
Well, at least we got over there and seen the nest itself, and that's a nice sight for anybody. And it was nice too to actually get down and see where the headwaters of the river. This was a real interesting stop, and as you mentioned before, there's some good fishing along in here too.
Excellent fishing, excellent fishing.
Now there's both trout and warm water species in here?
Yeah, there sure is. You can catch rainbow trout, largemouth bass, very, very big bluegill.
A fine Michigan day.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Oh man,
Can't get much better.
this is a nice one.
I got it.
Oh, there he is.
For now.
Until she sees the dad.
She's a good girl. You look.
Well, it's really nice the way they set this up and bring the boat over for you and drop it off, and then you just get out and you lock it back up, and,
That's right.
and they'll come over later to pick it up. So
Low maintenance.
yeah, I like
We
that.
like it
I
that
like
way.
that. Couldn't ask for a better day out here too. That's what's amazing. You get the days that are right, I'll tell you what. Of course, I tell you what, I like days too that the rains come in, because I tell you what, you can get out here then, nobody else will come along.
Yeah.
And
You get some privacy.
you get some privacy, you sure do. And it's just as pretty as far as I'm concerned.
After our canoe trip on DeVoe Lake, we went to see the modern campsites on Grouse Haven Lake. It has 80 sites with electric hookups, modern toilet buildings, showers, wheelchair accessible sites, and sanitation stations. In addition, some campgrounds have pull-through sites for larger vehicles. The day was coming to an end and the sun was getting low in the sky, but the scenery was still as breathtaking as it was at the beginning of our day. I will definitely be coming back here for many years to come. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like more information on the Rifle River Recreation Area, including maps, fishing information, canoeing information, camping, and much more, you can find it at our website at greatgetaways.tv. If you would like a free guide, you can receive that at the number on your screen. We have a limited number of free DVDs available, and we'll be happy to send you one when you go to our website at www.greatgetaways.tv and fill out the form and tell us what you thought of our story on the Rifle River Recreation Area. Well, that's the end of another great getaway, or maybe it's just the beginning. So long, and we'll see you next week. Production for this program is made possible by a grant from Superior Log Homes, combining yesterday's authentic methods with today's modern construction techniques. Builders of log homes for over 40 years. Home Improvement USA, contractors for all your home improvement needs.